Right, to discuss this further, I'm being joined by Fred Weir, who's a journalist and political commentator, joining us live on the broadcast from Moscow. Fred, thank you so much for making time, joining us here on Pulse. Where and how soon can we expect the Putin-Trump talks to take place?
This is a huge question. Trump said yesterday that he's ready to meet immediately, and this is pure Trumpism. He is a guy who likes to shake things up. He's quite bombastic, and he thinks that his personal charisma will break through all the ice flows. The Russians, on the other hand, are rather leery of this. I know that Putin today has put a good face on it. He's said he's ready anytime, any place. He thinks Trump is a pragmatic, business-like guy. He went beyond that to compliment him and say that he probably had the election stolen from him in 2020. So it means that the Russians are going to go with whatever Trump wants to set up. But under the surface, they're saying, we're not going to get on board just because you say so. They think a meeting has to be properly prepared. I mean, the Russians are classical in their diplomacy, and they want to get working groups working on an agenda, and they don't want to start with Ukraine. They want to start with the broader diplomatic crisis in the world, and they want to restore some kind of normalcy to relations, dialogue, before talking about Ukraine. That's the Russian way, and that's what all the Russian foreign policy experts have been saying. But Putin, clearly, I mean, he's ready to step up and embrace Trump and
He's definitely
that meeting.
Yes, he's definitely embracing Trump. All those words of praise, it hints that Russia wants to get on board towards some kind of a peaceful transition away from the war, which is now going to enter the fourth year in 2025. Now, I wanted to also come to you on this. Trump's threat of harsher sanctions against Russia. It's been rather perplexing because we've seen the Biden administration spend years trying to put harsher sanctions, and it did not lead to any kind of peaceful resolution. But Putin played it down in these recent comments that he's said. He's saying that he doubts Trump would have dropped sanctions that could hurt the U.S. economy. There's an implication here that sanctions on Russia hurt the U.S. economy in return. What's your assessment?
Well, yeah, sure. I mean, we can see the economic crisis, particularly in Europe, is to some extent the result of the loss of cheap Russian energy and the cost of sanctions. There's no doubt that these sanctions have a boomerang effect. There's also no doubt that they hurt Russia. But Russia has ridden them out, wave after wave of them, for the past 3 years. And I don't see any lack of confidence here in Moscow that they would be able to handle whatever Trump has to throw. What Trump is doing is I mean, by threatening deeper sanctions, and he'll really hit them, is just the other side of the, his bombast about ending the war in 24 hours. I think the Russians have a wait and see attitude. Let's see what Trump brings to the table. We'll take it from there. But I think the Russians they've had 4 years of Trump, experience with the guy. They know, what a shambles his diplomacy was during that 4 years, frankly. And they're just, I think they're ready to step up and embrace it and see where it leads. But otherwise, I don't think the Russians are going to take any wooden nickels, as the Americans say.
Russians, as far as, the current negotiations are concerned, they are making it clear that they are willing to step up and sit on the table, but they are going to wait to see what Trump has in his hands. Of course, a lot of words of praise coming out from Putin. It can't be without a purpose. We'll need to wait and watch how this one pans out. Thank you so much for joining me. That was Fred Weir joining us from Moscow.
Thank you.
All right, viewers.